It takes over my screen.
You're
Probably
good to
live
go.
now, right?
Yes.
Oh, he went live without me? Now I gotta find my.
Uh, all right, we are live.
Do code red. Shout out to Mountain Dew. Send me free
You guys
beverages.
probably haven't seen me smoke in a while, huh?
No, have that. A
Just a
little
few days.
jealous. I have not been able to smoke indoors in a while. And
Huh?
outdoors sucks in Florida in the summer. You start sweating just looking at the door and considering opening it. Yeah.
Um, I was just told that the weed that I was just given was peanut butter breath. So it instantly
Where
made
did they
me
come
think.
up with this shit?
Yeah, I was just
They
thinking
just
that.
make up stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
All the strain names are just BS at this point. Everything's so inbred and crossbred and yeah.
Uh, wasn't there something you had to talk about, Mark? Forgot what it was. Something we talked about earlier.
What
Want to continue talking about?
you said? I
Earworms.
don't know. Huh?
Earworms.
Hold on. Let me.
There we go. Everybody that's watching, thanks for watching. Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you're at. Oh shit. I mean, excuse me. Um, oh yeah, I'm ready. What
It
the
always
hell is
worries me
that?
when you say that.
Uh, yeah. Give Mark a brief second, you guys. Uh,
Whoa.
well, we'll wait for you.
Frozen. There it goes.
Okay. One moment. Okay.
So I'll read this article I got here. It says New Jersey female prison guard discovered canoodling with inmate who paid other prisoners to be on the lookout for tristis. Anybody know this word? Trysts.
First,
Okay, be on the lookout during tryst.
Oh,
Uh, nice. I don't know who tristis. Okay, I guess. But anyhow, uh, female prison guard was caught canoodling with an inmate at a New Jersey federal prison after her jailbird lover paid the prisoners to stand lookout during their sex tryst and even had a pregnancy scare from the sordid affair, according to the feds. Jordan Pensack, a 27-year-old corrections officer at the Federal Corrections Facility Institution in Fort Dix, Burlington County, was slapped with the criminal summons by the FBI at the prison and charged for January 7th sex act with the male inmate, NewJersey.com reported.
wait. Who? It was a female guard with a male inmate,
Yes.
and She had a pregnancy scare?
Yes, she did. Oh,
This
I'll
is,
keep I'll keep
yeah,
going.
that's,
That's bad. A spokesperson at the Federal Bureau of Prisons declined to comment on the matter, citing the ongoing litigation, but confirmed the post that Pensack has been placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of the criminal proceedings. But the pair's affair had been ongoing for over a year, and the prison guard even joked about believing the inmate had impregnated her, according to investigators. Starting in 2024, Pensack had sex with an inmate several times in an office at the prison, while the inmate paid um, other prin- uh, other prisoners to act as in quote lookouts from the guards during the encounters. The federal charge against her alleges the corrections officer who hinted at having a husband in text at her imprisoned lovers exchange over 100 sexually explicit messages, photos, and videos, the Philly Voice reported, citing the summons. Following the seizure of her personal cell phone, text messages revealed Pensack allegedly admitted to having sexual relationship with the inmate and said the relationship had been ongoing for the past year in a text in January to an unnamed person. Pensack also claimed to know that she was committing a crime according to another text from February and recalled getting in quote high with the inmate at work and another text message exchange from 2025 according to the report. Federal investigators seized two contraband cell phones used by prisoners, which contained numerous sexually explicit chats with Pensack and over 100 explicit messages of the pair. Oh, explicit images of the pair, according to the complaint. Pensack allegedly, she was bad, allegedly had a pregnancy scare in January of this year when she texted a person who investigators believe was a former inmate at the prison. In quote, I'm 3 days late for my period. You ready to be an uncle? The Philly Voice reported. That ain't good for the investigation, Pensack wrote on January 29th, according to the court documents. End quote. If the baby black and my husband white and Korean, she said. Oh, if the baby is black and my husband is white and Korean, question mark, she said. Investigators obtained search warrant for the Instagram account. Damn, they can get a warrant for your Instagram account?
They can get a
Okay.
warrant for anything.
Damn. Investigators obtained a search warrant for the Instagram account used by the prisoner, which showed the pair discussing their relationship from August 25th to January 26th, and in quote, professing their love, the complaint says. The search warrant was also obtained in May for an Instagram account investigators believe Pensack used to communicate with other inmates to discuss her alleged relationship. The federal prison, known as FCI Fort Dix, is a low security institution at Joint Base McGuire Dix Lakehurst, around 4,000 male inmates, according to NewJersey.com. Following the appearance with in front of Magistrate Judge Elizabeth A. Pascal in federal court in the federal court district court, in Camden on Tuesday, Pensack was released on bail. The U.S. Attorney's Office for New Jersey said Pensack faces a maximum of 15 years behind prison if convicted of sexual abuse of an individual in federal custody, according to U.S. Attorney's Office. Pensack was scheduled to appear in federal court in Camden Tuesday afternoon, the outlet reported. The Post reached out to FCI Fort Dix for comment. That is all. She was messing with a few people. It said, uh, yeah, and she had an Instagram connected with him.
That's just kind of wild.
It was article. Um, Yeah, the start of it said canoodling with an inmate. I thought, wow, it's a funny way to put it, but
It's a
yeah,
great word.
canoodling. Uh, yeah, thoughts on that, you guys? She's only 27. Well, that doesn't make it better, but uh,
I was gonna say, what does that matter?
she's really young. I thought they would say it different, but I didn't remember reading that, so I just looked at it again. Yeah, she's only 27. Uh,
Young and dumb.
Still, yeah, she's gonna get a lot of time in prison.
Yeah, to put it bluntly, that's some expensive dick.
Right. 15 years worth.
I hope it was worth it.
Uh, uh, Mark, thoughts on that? No? Your mic is on mute.
No, just general disgust. Not really much in the way of thoughts, more just kind of emotional. Ugh.
Gotcha. Um, I had a couple articles here by you that I was gonna open. Would you like me to read?
Hmm?
Said, would you like me to read this last article you sent?
I don't know what article you're talking about, man.
Free
We were
Kansas.
not very
Oh,
organized this morning, were we?
not
Or at
really, but
least I was not organized this morning to figure
I
out
got some
what
old tabs here from you,
um
and one from Andrea. Um, yeah,
uh,
Andrea, I'm gonna read this one by you. Well, the one you sent me, not by you.
well, I I don't know.
Any rocket news today?
I don't have rocket news right now ready to go, but I do have something. I mean, I just sent it yesterday. You just read a thing anyway, so I should get to have attention now, man.
Your
Go
time.
for it.
All
Go
eyes
for
on
it.
No,
you.
but this is interesting. This is something that just happened. So it's actually like in the mainstream media right now too. So it's good to be informed about what is happening in the world. And this is crazy. So I'm not sure what source to use for this. Um, I just went to Google um, and typed Spain invasion because I wasn't sure what else, what else to put as a search term for this. And there's been many invasions of Spain, so I didn't know what I was going to get. But right here, 1 day ago, 23 hours ago, um, there is a Spanish enclave, uh, Ceuta, Ceuta. I'm not sure which, but it is an island. They call it an enclaved island, but it is fully Spanish sovereign territory, part of Spain proper, but it is on the African continent side of the Strait of Gibraltar. Um, so yeah, it's like basically surrounded by Moroccan uh
Territory.
sea. territory, ocean territory or whatever. But uh, here, oh, I guess ABC News has a number, 60,000 migrants, um, crossed into Spanish territory of Ceuta, but most left voluntarily. Um, Ceuta, Spain, about 60,000 migrants crossed from Morocco into Spain's tiny territory in the past 24 hours. Ceuta's president said Friday, a figure that is equivalent to 70% of the population of the city in North Africa. Uh, so that's almost like double the population of the island just by these people crossing over the water. If you look at pictures, if you go and look it up, look at pictures. They're like coming over on little pool floaty inner tube pool toys and stuff, swimming across, but en masse. It's like okay, I'll keep reading. Um, 70% of this city in North Africa, at least 57 migrants died on the journey. But most of the people who made the crossing soon returned voluntarily, the Spanish government said, after the sudden arrival of so many migrants triggered chaos and a humanitarian crisis. Yeah, I mean, a city is, like that is going to be equipped to support its population. It's not going to have like the infrastructure, the resources to suddenly provide for double the number of people there, even if they were, legitimately like legitimate migrants and actually coming over in good faith, which I do not believe they were. But okay, um, most of the people returned after triggered chaos and a humanitarian crisis. Some migrants swam several miles through the sea and faced down authorities who tried to turn them back with water cannons, tear gas, and warning shots. Those who died include some who drowned or were killed in a stampede to cross a breakwater barrier near a border checkpoint. Spain deployed its armed forces and additional police to restore order in Ceuta, which sits on the Strait of Gibraltar at the entrance to, or sits on the Pillars of Hercules, let's say, at the entrance to the Mediterranean Sea, and has been a Spanish possession since 1580. On the Moroccan side of the border, security forces clashed with migrants. The chaos also had ripple effects abroad, with Italy and France pledging to tighten their controls on people arriving from Spain. Ha ha ha. This is interesting. So, Italy and France are going to clamp down their borders with Spain. Are we going to see like a ripple? Yeah, this ripple effect continue? Are EU member states going to start to realize, hey, this open border policy, even within the EU itself, might not be a good idea if some EU member states don't have the like ability to maintain like a good hold on who's coming in, who's able to, yeah, get in to move freely. But I mean, what else does open borders mean? I don't know. If they have open borders, why is 70,000 migrants a problem? Um, the situation that Ceuta is going through is absolutely unsustainable, President Juan Jesus Vivas told journalists. Meanwhile, migrants from Morocco also attempted to cross into Melilla, Spain's other territory at the tip of North Africa, where they clashed with police. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez visited Ceuta on Friday and condemned the border breach, which he described as, quote, a violation of Spain's territorial integrity. Sanchez blamed human smugglers for the crisis, saying they, quote, deceive so many young people and ultimately lead many of them to their deaths, whether in the ocean or in the city. The Spanish Interior Ministry released its own figures shortly after Vivas spoke, estimating that some 50,000 people had crossed from Morocco since Thursday. It added that 48,300 had already returned to Morocco by Friday, or by Friday evening, with hundreds more going back by the hour. Rashid Sbihi, who leads a local workers association representing civil guard officers, described the situation as a, quote, serious humanitarian crisis, saying thousands of migrants, including unaccompanied children, were left sleeping in parks and on sidewalks while others roamed the streets aimlessly. This is dishonest, that paragraph right there. Go watch any video of anything, like literally any video of this event. These migrants, as they call them, quote, are all young military aged men. They're like, I don't know. I think I recall seeing one woman, no children at all, no children crossing, no children doing that swimming. It was all young men of an age and um, mindset to, cause trouble. Calling them migrants is um, dishonest. Migrants don't come for a day and then swim right back. That if they're migrating, they're going to try to stay. They're going to fight for something, right? They're not going to just, right back. Um, this is not what they're saying it is. And the people that are doing this are not who ABC News is saying they are. Um, oh. Anyway, it's chaotic, Zbihi said. Moroccan Interior Ministry did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the migrant figures released by Spanish authorities. Well, of course he wouldn't have anything to say about what the Spanish said. Anyway, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said the images from Ceuta, I can't help but keep feeling like I'm mispronouncing it. Ceuta, and I
I do
still
that all
feel
the
like I'm
time.
mispronouncing it. So I'm sorry, Spain, but the images are unacceptable. Quote, we cannot allow anyone to come to our union without abiding by our rules, she said Friday in an online statement. Quote, dangerous crossings must stop immediately. Smuggling networks must be dismantled and returns must be swift as our rules allow. Some of the 57 people who died had drowned, Spihi said, but some were also killed in a stampede to cross the breakwater fence at Tarajal Beach, Tarajal Beach, an urban beach near a border checkpoint with Morocco. The waters near the border fence were littered with buoys, shoes, and other abandoned belongings. Many young Moroccans, and they have a link there. I'm going to open that link in the background. And we'll come back to that. But I want to see what they're calling, what they're saying, what they have to say about young Moroccans at this point that they feel is worth a tangent. Many young Moroccans who crossed told the Associated Press that they had hoped to find better work opportunities in Spain, but were returning, giving the mayhem in Ceuta. Really, they thought 60,000 of them crossing all at the same time into an island with a population of only 100,000 would give them work opportunities.
Hope for the best.
Uh,
Seems to be
uh,
awfully coordinated for that.
yeah, I mean, it is coordinated too. There are videos showing individuals in uniform directing groups en masse disembarking um, from large vehicles. This way, go. You know, this way to swim across. Um, this is not just something that happened out of nowhere. 60,000 people all at once do not organically decide to cross a border and then immediately swim back. Why did they do that? Is the question that needs to be asked, not feelings for the people and, oh, they don't have job opportunities back at home. Um, yeah. Quote, there's nothing at home. I'd have to work 12-hour shifts for a meager wage. That's why I came here. So why is he going immediately back? Said 21-year-old Abdullah Bouhi, who hails from the city of Teotihuacan. Quote, but I haven't found any opportunities here, so I have to go back. In less than 24 hours, he has found no job opportunities there and decided he's going to go back to where he lived. I don't buy that. I don't buy that either. That sounds like a
Mhm.
script that had been given to somebody to tell foolish Westerners, this is what they will buy up. Job opportunities. This is the narrative that they have been fed to get them angry. This is what works um, on the American sensibilities, jobs and meager wages. That resonates. So say that, talk about that, tell them that. And then no job opportunities there either. Oh, tell them that, right? How does he know? How can he know? In the sea of 60,000 other migrants that he was in the span of 24 hours in that tiny little island, how does he know that there are no job opportunities that are any better than back home that justifies immediately turning around and swimming back?
Maybe it wasn't what he
Not,
thought it would be.
huh?
Maybe he got there and got scared. He thought it was going to be much easier than it was. You never know.
You're being
Mark
way
just
too
says no.
generous. No, no, you're being
Just
way too generous.
I'm trying. You got to see both
You don't
sides.
you
Maybe he.
don't make a decision like that in less than 24 hours. You can't
Yeah,
you
you're right.
can't have looked for job opportunities enough to know that there are none better than back home in the span of 24 hours. So swimming over there to find a job and then 24 hours later saying, this is no better than at home, I'm going to go back. That does not work. That is not what is going on there. That is
The
not
whole thing is
rational.
just the
There's
whole thing is
something
just
else.
weird.
There's something else that is going on. There's something else that's happening there. Um, yeah. Uh, so continuing, Moroccan police used water cannons and fired warning shots into the air to prevent migrants from crossing, according to rights groups in Morocco. Morocco's ambassador to Spain said the situation had unfolded against Morocco's wishes. Quote, we have always prioritized legal, orderly, and safe migration for all. Karima Benya, Ben Yake, Yaich, Yake, Karima said. She did not comment on what prompted the migrants to cross, which is really important, right? Don't you think?
You would
Uh,
think.
to reach the island, on the North African coast, migrants often swim from the Moroccan town of Fnideq. How do you pronounce that?
Very
Fn-
carefully.
Nedik.
Right.
Nedik. I feel like I sound racist trying to say that. There's no way to say
When
that without coming across as like trying to
trying to make a joke,
Fnidek.
somebody gonna be like, "You trying to be funny?"
I don't know. From the nearest Moroccan town, covering about 3 miles or 5 kilometers, kilograms, 3 miles, 5 kilograms. Wow, that would be magic. To reach Spanish territory. Others attempt the crossing from a nearby town where the distance is shorter. Here. The authorities in Ceuta and Madrid have linked the border surge to a recent decision by the Spanish Supreme Court, which ruled that migrants arriving by sea could not be summarily deported, unlike those who cross by land or climb the border fence. So they did it to themselves in a way, but still, I don't know. Sanchez said migrant smugglers misinterpreted the ruling. The interpretation of the Supreme Court's ruling, quote, spread like wildfire over the past few hours through the networks of human trafficking organizations, triggering the surge, Sanchez said. Sanchez has bucked the anti-migration trend that has gained ground across Europe and in the US. Earlier this year, the government moved to give residency and work permits to hundreds of thousands of migrants already living in the country without permission. Sanchez, a socialist, capital S, socialist, so probably like an openly, um, like, I don't know, half castrated communist, but Marxist at heart, political party in Spain, um, left of left. I wonder what that. Yeah, to give it a capital S is interesting. But yeah, they argued that it would be good for the economy and the demographics of an aging Spain. Migrants who entered irregularly after January 1st this year were not included. Migrants who entered irregularly, they don't say illegally, do they? Irregularly. The language softens slowly, they erode it until it's meaningless. His critics have jumped at the opportunity to attack his policy, saying it encouraged more migrants to come, more invaders. Sanchez allows Spain to be invaded through Ceuta. Spanish conservative politician Isabel Diaz Ayuso wrote on X. Good job, Isabel. Oh, yeah. Somebody over there fight back, please. Europe is incredible, and the heritage there needs to be preserved.
Mm.
The U.S. expressed its support for, quote, the people of Spain and all Europeans against this egregious violation of their sovereignty and human rights. On X, the State Department added that, quote, this unacceptable incident is a direct result or is the direct result of the Spanish government's deliberate efforts to enable and facilitate mass illegal migration into Europe. Mass invasion into Europe. Sanchez on Friday defended his migration policy. They've got a link there. And distanced it from the events in Ceuta. Ceuta? Um, in the tumult, Italy temporarily suspended its open border Schengen article reinforced. I don't know. This is kind of going on. It feels like I'm like 2/3 of the way there. I'm not running out of steam because I kind of want to talk about something that is interesting here. There's a historical parallel that goes all the way back um, to the origin of Islam and the um, the original Muslim conquest when the first Rashidid Caliphate, I think I'm probably off on that name on the word, but the first good caliphate, the immediate followers of Muhammad, um, had broken out of Arabia and were conquering all of uh, I think it was Ibn Tariq, who had he was a Berber. He had been placed in charge of the army um, in North Africa, and he basically swept across North Africa from Egypt, and all of the Berber states were conquered and taken and turned Islamic forced conversions from Christianity. It was really the heart of Christianity. 2/3 of the Christian world was there in the Levant and in North Africa, and it was all just taken and made Muslim. Churches demolished, built into mosques built with the the demolished ruins of the churches that had stood for centuries, um, built by original followers, apostolic churches. Um, that's a side note, though. But Tariq went all the way across North Africa and reached the Atlantic Ocean and was like, "There's no land here left to conquer for Islam." So he said, "Turn north," and he went up and turned um, and en masse invaded Spain. And so a lot of people who are, um, scholars of Islam and especially Islamic military history are seeing that there is a big parallel here between what had happened with the original Islamic expansion and what is happening with this right now. A mass break in of Muslim military aged males. Again, if you go for yourself, any and every video, and like it doesn't matter. I'm not talking about Fox News's videos where they kind of selectively show the like what would make the Democrats or the AP News look bad. Like any video, any news outlets, what was happening? Those 60,000 men, like I have to call them men, um, crossing that border into Spain. Calling them migrants is intellectually dishonest because migrants, are like entire families, populations moving, intending to like move into and settle in another country, right? Migration. Um, Migration is not um, an appropriate term to apply to a group of, um, you know, 18 to 35-year-old men, physically fit men, all uncoordinated but in mass. Well, I shouldn't say uncoordinated because I'm not so sure about that, but disorganized between themselves, chaotic in nature, right? It wasn't like drilled marching orders or whatever, but it coincides with a holiday in Morocco where they release prisoners. So there has been some speculation, some that have hypothesized that Morocco pulled uh, a page out of Cuba's playbook, right? Where Castro in like I forget when, if it was the 60s or the 70s. I think it was maybe the 70s, possibly even the 80s. But if you look up the Mariel boat lift, right, there were several waves of Cuban migration fleeing the communist takeover of Cuba. Um, and the first big wave were the capitalists who kind of saw the writing on the wall, so to speak, right? And packed up their families, their belongings, right? And migrated. Yeah, whole families came to live in another country. Migration. Yeah. And the United States welcomed them. A lot of them came to Key West. The culture of Key West has forever been changed by that footprint um, that Cuban exile culture brought with them. I think there was a big, I forget if it was a fire or a hurricane, but at one point the Cubans moved up to Tampa. A cigar manufacturer founded his own cigar factory up in Florida, Ybor City. And they had Cuban craftsmen, they got Cuban tobacco, Cuban leaves, but all rolled in America. So you circumvent that ban on the Cuban cigars, right? Cuban cigars illegal in the U.S. Well, these were American cigars, but you know, Everything about them is Cuban. But so, wow, I got way off topic there.
We're just gonna let you
Cuba,
roll. Keep
Cuba.
going. Keep
But
going.
so, yeah, 7-Eleven, um, Tariq um, took his army, military aged, fighting aged men, and flooded across that little gap between um, mainland Africa and mainland Europe at the Strait of Gibraltar, formerly called the Pillars of Hercules. Gibraltar comes from Arabic for the cliffs of Tariq. So it's a nod to um, his conquest, his invasion, bloody, brutal invasion of Spain. And this is like scarily reminiscent of that sort of early early feelers of what's going on. But they also may have been, prisoners who were freshly released and trying to get across. Um, uh, uh, Spain had made that statement that crossing by water would mean that you would not have immediate expulsion. So they thought that maybe um, getting a foothold through swimming would give them a loophole that would mean that they have to be taken into um, mainland Spain in order for due process to be worked out, and then they could, just kind of disappear once they get into the system. Um, yeah, I don't know, but I think kind of maybe a little bit most pernicious potential of all is maybe this was just a cover. Maybe this is intentional, you know, flood 60,000 agents in to cover for like 20 to 50 really bad dudes that'll just get lost in the mix. Um, and most of them, they're coming back. They're realizing they're not gonna get, right? Well, they knew they were never going to get it to begin with, but I mean, Spain doesn't even know how many came over in total to begin with. So they can't be sure that they will be successful sending all of them back or that they've captured all of them. It seems like a numbers game. They're trying to get somebody or somebodies in somewhere.
The whole 24 hours and turning around and going back is what really just doesn't make sense to me.
But
So, I mean,
they,
that's a very plausible reason.
yeah, that's not what migrants do. So,
No.
yeah, calling them migrants, AP News, ABC, or AP3, ABC through AP News, or vice versa, they're all the same thing. Um, yeah,
The whole thing just doesn't make sense.
A lot of whys.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's a very good way to put it.
none of the whys make sense except in like diabolical situations. There's no real good why for this, right?
Not
Right.
that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that today is National Planner Day? A day that encourages people to regain control by writing down tasks, making a plan, and following through with their list. I
It's
tell
also
myself that all
National
the time.
it's also National Pinball Day and Sandcastle Day.
Wow, there's a lot going on today. Uh,
Every day. There's a holiday every day.
uh, we got to start celebrating.
I
How do
do
we make
every day. I have a kick
sandcastles?
with sand.
I
You never made
mean,
sandcastles at the beach?
not really. I usually go to the beach for the water, but I mean, like, how you gonna make a sand castle to here if like we were gonna do one live?
Well, we'd have to get some sand, and there's not a whole lot of that where I live, so that's on you or Mark.
Ooh,
You guys have beaches. I don't.
plenty of beaches.
It's an
Um,
hour away to get to Cocoa.
All
mm,
I've got's, wheat fields and cows and corn.
Well, it won't be Sandcastle Day tomorrow, so we won't have to worry about it.
That's true.
I got an article here that you article that you sent, Andrea, and it says a Texas deputy searched 83,000 flock cameras to track down a woman who had an abortion. That's a lot of cameras to check. Anyhow, on May 9th, 2025, a deputy with the Johnson County Sheriff's Office in Texas acquired Flock Safety's nationwide license plate reader network. The reason entered into the search log, according to the documents obtained by the 404 media, in quote, had an abortion, search for female. That single query swept across 83,000 cameras in 6,809 law enforcement networks, including cameras in Washington and Illinois states where the abortion is legal and protected. A small county Texas deputy hunting for a woman suspected of self-administering an abortion. Wow. Had had just searched a surveillance apparatus stretching from Spokane to Springfield. No warrant is required for this search. How a data potluck built a nationwide dragnet. Um, I think Flock's system, like a potluck, bring your cameras to the table and eat from everybody else's plate. Over 75% of the 5,000 plus law enforcement departments using Flock share their data into national pool, according to the NBC News. That sharing grants access in quote national lookup, a tool a tool letting any participating agency search all shared networks at once. San Jose has a flock problem that illustrates how communities are pushing back against this expansive network. Here's what that means. There's a lot there of what that means. Um, so I'll pass that part.
Well,
Um,
here's what it means in practice. Flock cameras capture your plate, timestamp, location, and direction of travel, all stored in a central cloud. So they know what the vehicle is, where it was, and where it was heading, all stored in the same place. Next off, agencies trade their data for broker search access, and warrants are typically not required. So when they say, yeah, what they're saying there, agencies trade their data. So in exchange for providing their data, um, the company is giving them search access. So because this is interaction between the law enforcement agency and a private company that's making this database, um, then the fact that it's a private company shields them from having to get search warrants. So then all of these other law enforcement agencies providing their data into this is basically like de facto providing um, all of this data and information that like just 10 years ago would have required going to a judge and providing us like a really good case, a reason, and requesting a search warrant. Now it's just, they're working with a company. It's like going to Google and asking, except that they've paid for this search access with your data, my data, all of our neighbors' data. Anybody who passes a flock camera, that data is what they're paying flock in order to get data from everybody else's communities, jurisdictions, right? So it's really sleazy when you think about it like that. So then a Texas deputy can query cameras in your state without your state's knowledge, is the next point in this bullet point, right?
Oh,
That
good thing I don't drive.
that exactly proves it. That's a perfect example of what is the problem with this and how well, yeah, I just explained how it works to get around, and that's a perfect example of what they can do with it. So yeah, search justification. Okay, next point. Search justifications are text-free fields, often just, quote, investigation. This one was unusually candid. Search justifications are text-free fields, often just
Free text.
Oh, free text fields, often just investigation. Yeah, okay. So yeah, they have a thing they need to justify why they're why they're requesting this information. And apparently the company is so lax that a law enforcement officer can just say a single word, quote, investigation. Why do you need this? What justifies you taking this otherwise privileged information that is protected under the Fourth Amendment, were it involving entirely just government agencies? Um, they can just say investigation. I'm just, just searching, investigating. Don't have to say what, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
okay. And then the final point here, it says ACLU of Massachusetts records show over 450,000 searches hit Flock's national database in a single 30-day period in spring 2025. So they are using it.
A
uh,
lot.
they are using it. Yeah, everywhere. Um, Electronic Frontier Foundation, hell yeah, I like the EFF. They've called National Lookup a repurposing of infrastructure sold for stolen car recovery, now aimed at people seeking reproductive care. Um, yeah, okay. So it seems Pookie popped off, and since I jumped in
Oh,
and
I'm
started
here.
reading those bullet points, I'll just continue reading it. How about that? You okay with that?
Yeah, go
Yes.
ahead. I'm here.
Okay. So it goes on to title this next bit "The Welfare Check That Wasn't." Official claims of a missing person search crumble under documents showing deputies discussed criminal charges with prosecutors. After 404 Media broke the story, Sheriff Adam King and Flock Safety investigated this was a welfare check for a missing person. Flock called the reporting, quote, false. and quote, clickbait. Okay.
Cool.
Documents and court records obtained by the EFF tell a different story. Deputies discuss potential criminal charges with prosecutors, and the investigating officer's own affidavit contradicts key claims officials used to justify the welfare framing. Kate Bertesh of the Digital Defense Fund told 404 Media that anti-abortion activists have long secretly tra- have long secretly tracking users. You could do better with that grammar. Have long been secretly tracking users, maybe? Is that what they meant?
Yeah.
Um,
I think
They
so.
reported that anti-abortion activists have long been secretly tracking users' recorded license plates at clinics, and large ALPR databases now make it easier to, quote, cross-reference and track those vehicles over time and across state lines. Living in a so-called safe state offers little protection when the surveillance grid has no state lines. Representative Sylvia Garcia, and Raja Krishnamurti. I am so sorry, Raja. Sent a letter to Flock CEO Garrett Langley in August 2025. I've seen some very interesting videos about people confronting or trying to confront CEO Garrett Langley. He is extremely like concerned and focused on his own personal safety and privacy to a degree that um, he simply does not offer any citizen out in the wild. It's nuts. Um, yeah. Um, Demanding answers on warrant requirements and data safeguards. No comprehensive federal law governs any of it. The real problem isn't one deputy's blunt search term. If you typed investigation instead, nobody would have ever known. From the coolest cars to the must-have gadgets, Gadget Review Daily Newsletter keeps you in the know. Um, yeah. Oh, hey, up next. California driver rammed three flock cameras with his
oh,
truck,
I was
but missed the one that busted him. That sucks. Idiot. You always get the fourth one, too. Leave no witnesses. Uh,
you gonna read
okay.
that one?
That, we need to talk about this. This is not something we should just go past. And uh,
Gotcha.
so, yeah.
It's
Oh,
creepy.
when did they
Yeah.
start putting these cameras up?
It's been a few years now. They've had, I don't know. There's been a slow creep, hasn't there? I
Yeah.
remember like seeing and thinking, oh, this is nice when they were doing, like pay by toll or pay by plate on toll roads and stuff. It's like, oh, hey,
Oh
that's
yeah,
cool. You don't
when
have to have
COVID
like
hit.
the little transponder in your car or anything. They could just, and it didn't connect that, oh, they're, you know, with that they can figure out. But then when they started, there were cameras at intersections. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. They can see, they can train systems to look at the traffic and optimize how to, run traffic flow through the intersection, right? So then there's cameras there. Um,
I
I
mean,
don't remember.
I'm just saying, I've seen them used for good things. Like they have used them to find stolen vehicles, kidnapped children, all kinds of things. But
Mhm.
they're going to an extent where, like, this is one prime example where it's just not okay.
Yeah, yeah, and
Agreed.
not only that, but there is um a digital cybersecurity like activist. I'm blanking on his name right now, but um he's been an extremely outspoken critic of Flock and the way that they are doing everything. And I saw a video that he showed. Um, Flock themselves have cameras installed like right outside of his driveway and like every direction up and down every side road away into and away from his house. There are Flock cameras like frequently and stuff.
Just
It's like,
tracking him.
yeah, they're not like saying anything, but it's definitely clearly intimidation and harassment. And they can always just clearly say, oh, we're just installing our traffic cameras and stuff. But he's been criticizing them for those traffic cameras. And then all of a sudden, when he gets some traction on YouTube, those cameras appear everywhere around his house.
I've heard of people
Yeah.
being like police officers stalking women and stuff like that too. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. I think that happened here, right here in Florida. There was a police officer who used a flock camera to track down his like a woman who had broken up with him or something.
yeah, like
I
an
read that
Like
article a
ex-girlfriend
few
or
weeks ago.
yeah, that he
Uh,
had met on he was doing security for a like a
yeah.
TV show or something, and she was like some actress or extra or something, and he thought he put on the charm, and she was like,
Uh-huh.
nah, no, and he couldn't pick up on that, and just decided he was gonna get it. Oh my
Oh,
gosh, why
there's
are
just
men are so
there's
gross? Why are men so gross? I mean, not all men. Why are so that they ruin
a
it for the
decent percent
rest
of
of
them.
us, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Finding 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 a good one is a lot harder than finding a asshole, put it
Yeah.
that way.
I mean, I can entirely understand why it's like it seems like every woman has their guard up all times. Like, oh, I wouldn't want to
Mm,
be
that's a
approached
whole
by
different
somebody
topic.
like that either. Huh.
I mean, I
Yeah.
got hit on at a putting gas in my car one day,
Mm.
many, many years ago. I'm just standing
Yeah.
there pumping gas, and some guy comes up and starts talking to me and gives me his phone number and wants to take me out to dinner.
Did you get
And
dinner?
he was, yeah, I did actually, but
Well,
it turned out he was married.
At
creepy.
least you got dinner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a good dinner too. Went to this little Italian place. But I mean, I was like 19 and stupid back then. So if somebody did that to me today, I'd be like, get the fuck away from me, dude.
Yeah. That's
You got dinner was the what matters. and they didn't have flock cameras back then.
They did not.
I mean, the most
Uh,
the flock cameras are going to be able to do is find your
Tell where
body
you were.
after the fact. It's not going to protect you from the serial killers.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it just has so many ways that it could be used for nefarious purposes and go wrong.
Um, there was an article that came out this morning. Uh, the one that Mark started reading earlier. The California driver rammed 3 flock cameras with his truck, but missed the one that busted him. Uh, you want me to read that, Mark, or were you gonna read it? I'll take it on.
Um, I'm not sure. Wait. I have, is it from gadgetreview.com?
No, the last article that you just read about the other flock cameras, there's one under it.
Well, I have another flock camera
Go ahead.
article then. So you keep that one open and I'll read this one and then you can read the other one because uh, this is the day of the flock. I think we've got a few
Go
a few
ahead.
flock articles and then after these I think we can move on to some other stuff. I think we had a couple other topics, but San Jose has a flock problem. No Mark may be the folk hero it needs. I don't know who No Mark is, but San Jose residents celebrate an anonymous figure targeting flock cameras. Flock Safety's citywide plate reader network built without public vote. Yes, fuck that. Flock Safety's ALPR cameras log every vehicle's plate, storing data 30 days without warrants. Talon Network connects flock cameras worldwide, enabling cross jurisdiction tracking of any driver's movements. Anonymous figure No Mark emerges as folk hero amid San Jose's enforcement first surveillance expansion. So those are the three key takeaways they put up front. So here we go. Residents who drove to work this morning may not realize that a camera on a pole photographed their license plate, stamped the time, recorded the direction, and filed it in a searchable database. No warrant, no suspicion, just routine. That's how Flock Safety's automated license plate reader system works. I don't know why that was so hard to get out. Every vehicle that passes gets logged, stored for roughly 30 days, and made available to connected law enforcement agencies. The scale is the quiet part. The cross jurisdiction sharing system called Talon, reporting, Flux, according to Vice reporting, Flux cameras aren't isolated municipal tools. They're nodes in a nationwide surveillance app era network that cities subscribe to, like SaaS product. What? S, capital S, lowercase a, capital S product, like a SaaS product. Software delivery system and licensing in which software is accessed online via subscription rather than bought and installed on individual computers. Oh, okay. SaaS, software as a service. Yes,
Yeah, I just
got it.
found it. Yeah,
Got it.
go
Okay.
ahead.
The more cameras deployed, the more completely a driver's movements can be reconstructed after the fact. Here's what that looks like in practice. Data is retained approximately 30 days and remains searchable by connected agencies. The system
Well,
officially tracks vehicles, not people, though the privacy advocates call that distinction meaningless when your car goes everywhere you do. Yeah, you're basically within, I mean, most people, us, epileptics are the exceptions. We are the ghosts in the flock camera system. We move stealthily. They do not have any ability to tie us to any vehicle in the flock camera. We get rides wherever we can, right?
Unless,
But it,
they figure out who your family is and your family's giving you rides everywhere, then they track them and can assume that you
Right.
may be
But
with them.
then, you've got Uber.
I was gonna
You've
say,
got public
bunch of random
transport. You
Ubers.
can walk places and stuff, and none of it is definitively tied to you specifically being in that vehicle at that time. The license plate readers are aimed at the back. So, yeah.
Sucks for them because I get
Uh,
a lot of rides and yeah, and Ubers. So yeah, they'd have to follow someone else's Uber and hope that I'm in that one. As far as they know, I just ordered it.
yeah.
So
Um,
I can get off by
Independent
technicalities with that.
researchers claim cameras can be physically compromised in under 30 seconds, exposing credentials and video streams. Community level research not verified by regulators, it says in parentheses. But this is not the type of thing you'd go and do publicly, right? It's illegal to go breaking in and right. So they don't I get why it's not verified regulator, but the fact that it's a it's possible at community level research means that it's possible to the average everyday criminal, right? They're not going to be going and announcing that they can do this. It's got to be like a white hat guy who's saying, "Hey, this is possible." People are probably already taking advantage of this. And regulators, as usual, are like 10 steps behind, and they're like, well, we haven't verified this. Well,
Right.
Um, Columbia Heights, Minnesota canceled its flock contract. Hell yeah. After community pushback, according to Fox 9. One documented case of formal resistance producing results. One case nationwide, one case. The people's voice was listened to. Uh, I mean, good for them. I'm glad that it worked. And that's an important time, an important instance for the people's voice to be heard.
It's
It's a
precedent.
shame that it took such a big, like, cross-partisan issue to actually get this discussion going and get some agreement. But great, great. I like it. Quote, anyone with access is able to track whoever they want, no warrant required, according to privacy researchers cited in investigative reporting on the system. A dynamic that mirrors cases of secretly tracking users without public consent. Flock and law enforcement agencies argue the opposite framing. ALPR tools are objective, vehicle focused instruments that help solve crimes effectively and operate within existing legal oversight. Maybe. If all of that is true, then they're basically just like shirking responsibility and saying existing legal oversight isn't enough to keep us from functioning ethically.
Sure.
Yeah,
That's how
it's
it works, right?
the rules, we're following the rules. That's not, yeah. Um, San Jose's political climate makes this infrastructure feel anything but neutral. The city council recently approved Mayor Mahan's shelter enforcement plan, according authorizing arrests for unhoused residents who refuse shelter per KQED are reporting. That enforcement first posture has turned online spaces like r/San Jose sucks into pressure valves for local frustration. Surveillance cameras in that context read less like safety tools and more like a statement about who gets watched and why. The folk hero nobody can confirm. No mark exists almost entirely as community lore, and that framing says more about institutional trust than any camera ever could. Per that same subreddit, commenters describe a person or group called No Mark allegedly removing flock cameras across Jose. No mainstream outlet has confirmed this. No documented arrests exist. What remains is a nickname, a handful of social media posts, and a neighborhood narrative casting an anonymous actor as a community protector, a surveillance age folk hero minus any verified origin story. The framing matters more than the verifiable facts here. Columbia Heights went through city council chambers. San Jose apparently got no mark. Both responses, wait, both responses point to the same underlying gap. Surveillance infrastructure deployed faster than public debate could catch up. Whether no mark is real, symbolic, or somewhere in between, the cameras are the actual story, and right now, no public vote was held before the watching began. Yeah, I do not like the flock cameras. They
I'm not. I'm not
need
personally a
more
fan.
oversight, and their own personnel basically all but said so. Right.
Yeah. I'm not a fan either. They're not going to catch me, or, well, not that I've done anything, but yeah, they're not looking for me. Uh,
If they're
the
trying
one
to
thing you
watch me,
said,
they're going to be real bored.
yeah, they're going to see the bike, and that's all. Well, it's not going to be checking for the bike, actually. Um, there was another article I wanted to read. Well, I seen it, and I thought maybe Mark would want to read it, or let me read it, and you'd let me know. I might not understand what I'm reading. It's an article you sent, I see. It says Free Kansas State.
Hmm. Yes, that is interesting.
Uh,
Uh, I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Mm. Okay, free Kansas State. That was in the Reddit chat.
Yes,
uh, I
it
sent it to
is.
you right now. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at a little bit of it, but I was like, I'll wait till Mark reads
It's
this.
important.
Then,
It's important history, and yeah, it's kind of glossed over a lot. It's not dealt with as much as it should be. And Kansas is a very, very important um important part of the whole lead up to the Civil War. And a lot of people don't know about that. Not a lot of people think about that. So the title of the article, and this is from legendsofamerica.com, the Free State of Kansas. It starts off with a quote. If the outrageous fraud by which the Missourians pretend to elect representatives for Kansas astonished the world, the proceedings of the conclave of vagabonds assembled under this mob authority were still more astonishing. Never did a less responsible body of men under the pretense of making laws. Yes, Missouri was fucking up things for Kansas early on. Um, that quote was from William Addison Phillips from The Conquest of Kansas by Missouri and Her Allies, circa 1856. So, um, the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854 created the territories of Kansas and Nebraska and repealed the Missouri Compromise of 1820. It allowed the territory settlers to determine if they would allow slavery within their boundaries. So the Missouri Compromise, okay, that's another article. I don't know if you want to go into the Missouri Compromise, but yeah.
Uh, you want to? I mean,
Mm. Well, the Missouri Compromise of 1820 is kind of important. Do we have time? Um,
uh,
I don't
if
know.
you got time, I got time.
Okay, well, yeah, hopefully it shouldn't take too long. I won't read the whole article, but Missouri Compromise was an effort by Congress to diffuse political rivalries, maintain balance of power between the North and the South. In the years leading up to the Missouri Compromise, tensions had been building between pro-slavery, anti-slavery factions across the country within the Congress. So when Missouri requested admission to the Union as a slave state in 1819, it threatened to upset the delicate balance between slave states and free states, right? If you have a new state join that's a slave state, then all of a sudden the whole thing tips over, and that was a problem, right? So, um, yeah, and in order to admit a new slave, you need an act of in order to admit a new state, you need an act of Congress. So they need to decide: are they going to be a free slave or a slave, a free state or a slave state? And either way is going to piss off one side of Congress or the other. Um, so at the time, the United States considered or consisted of 22 states evenly divided between those that allowed slavery and those that did not. At about the same time, the state of Maine was also requesting admission to the Union. The Missouri Compromise was reached to keep the peace, granting Missouri's request and admitting Maine as a free state. The compromise also drew an imaginary line across the former Louisiana Territory, which prohibited slavery north of the 36-degree 30-minute parallel, excluding Missouri. So, except Missouri, you know, from that point, basically at the base of Kentucky, the bottom line that forms the border of Missouri, draw that straight across, and that's slavery below that only. Um, the Missouri Compromise remained the law until it was negated by the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854. Though the compromise had been made, the bitter disputes in gaining the agreement led to intense competition between the southern and northern states for power in Congress and control over future territories. The changes over the next 30 years gradually intensified the antagonism and sentiment between the North and the South. So that's the Missouri Compromise of 1820. Back
Mm.
to Kansas. Repealed the Missouri Compromise of 1820. It allowed the territory settlers to determine if they would allow slavery within their boundaries, for themselves, basically. Though the initial purpose of the Kansas-Nebraska Act was to create opportunities for a transcontinental railroad, that changed with the struggles between North and South for dominance on the issue of slavery. Numerous debates were held before the act was passed in Congress. During that time, the northern states determined that the only way to rescue the new territory of Kansas from pro slavery advocates was to send numerous northern immigrants into the territory to establish it as a free state. Before the Kansas Nebraska bill was passed, several immigrant aid societies were formed primarily in New England to populate the state with anti slavery proponents. Leading the charge was a Massachusetts House of Representatives politician named Eli Thayer, who formed the Massachusetts Immigrant Aid Company, which provided a plan to raise capital to offer inducements to anti slavery immigrants sufficient to offset the hardships of frontier life. That would be a pretty big, I would need a pretty big. Frontier life sucked. Um,
Yes.
Thayer's plan worked. He must have been
Mm.
rich. Before long, many other immigrant aid societies were formed, sending thousands of immigrants from free states, including New England, Iowa, Ohio, and other Midwestern states, into Kansas Territory. These immigrants were known as Free Staters, who quickly established new settlements such as Lawrence, Topeka, and Manhattan. By the time they arrived, several settlements had already been formed by pro slavery squatters, including Atchison, Lecompton, and others. Did I get those names right?
You did.
Looks good.
Atchison, Lecompton, and others. Okay. So, to protect themselves against pro slavery advocates, the Free Staters formed several organizations, including the Actual Settlers Association of Kansas Territory. Well, that's that's a name. Yeah, the real settlers. Yeah, that sort of attitude and thing that continues on to this day. I've seen that a lot on the internet. Somebody gets kicked out of some group. They're like, okay, well, I'm gonna reform the group, but I'm calling it the real XYZ of whatever, and they try to drag their friends over. But that's a whole tangent, irrelevant. But I
Mm.
like the I think I don't like the people. But wait, free staters form several include. Okay, actual. Okay, yeah, I like the people. Free staters, good job, free staters. Yeah, I thought that was the slave people. It's like, nah, slavery, no, bad. Slavery, bad. I don't know how
Well,
any Christian could ever possibly justify it. It's very clear in the Bible, but mm. Um, yes, in January 1855, a small group of men in the politically charged town of Lawrence organized the Free State Society to use all its influence for the prohibition of slavery in Kansas. On May 30, 1855, an election was held to establish the Kansas legislature, which was won and organized by pro-slavery advocates, primarily due to hundreds of non-residents flooding over the Missouri state line and stuffing the ballot boxes. Wait, I'm sorry. Even though I was reading that out loud, I zoned out and I did not get anything that I just said out loud. I don't know how that's possible. May
It's
30.
very possible.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yes.
It's all right.
Seizures this morning, just FYI, YouTube people, seizures this morning, Klonopin in the system. Um,
And you're still here.
Things are, yeah, so I don't know what I'm doing. Um, on May 30, 1855, an election was held to establish. Okay. Establish the Kansas legislature, which was won and organized by pro-slavery advocates, primarily due to hundreds of non-residents flooding over the Missouri state line and stuffing the ballot boxes. Got it. The Free Staters were incensed, but the U.S. federal government recognized the new territorial government, which the Free Staters referred to as the quote, bogus legislature. I like that. Yeah. Soon afterward, the Kansas Free State Party was formed to reject the bogus legislature. The Free State Party formed a second legislature that began at a meeting at Big Springs, Kansas in September 1855. The new party encouraged Republicans in Congress to block pro-slavery efforts to control Kansas and formed several new constitutions over the next several years, which would repeatedly be rejected. During these early days of the Free Staters, the turmoil between the two factions dramatically increased, leading to the Kansas-Missouri border war. I'm gonna open that link in the background and see if that's something interesting to come back to. And brutal attacks by jayhawkers upon the slavery men and raids upon anti-slavery settlers by Missouri bushwhackers. So jayhawkers on the slavery men and raids on anti-slavery settlers by bushwhacker. Um, is it the same brutal
Mm.
attacks by jayhawkers upon the slavery men, right? So the jayhawkers are attacking slavery men and raids upon, okay, anti-slavery settlers by the bushwhackers. So the bushwhackers are the slave guys, and the jayhawkers are the anti-slave people.
Yes,
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay, got it. Ah, Clonopin brain.
you're good, man.
I'm gonna nap
Yeah.
well this afternoon. Um, The battles between the opposing parties continued until a referendum was finally authorized by the English Bill of 1858, which dashed all pro-slavery hopes of Kansas Territory becoming part of the South. However, what did the English Bill of 1858 do to keep Kansas from becoming part of the South? I don't know.
I don't
However,
remember.
continued struggles would delay the admission of Kansas as a free state until January 1861. In the meantime, bitterness between the factions continued into the Civil War. So, yeah, in a in a very real sense, Kansas was like a prelude. the front line touchstone prelude for the Civil War, you know, the the battle, slave or not, admission into the Union based on slavery or not, you know. Can can you be part of the Union and still be a slave state? The fact that that was such a big question, I mean, it wouldn't have been a big question just a few decades earlier, right? I,
Hmm.
I don't know. I think so. I don't know. I'm not a historian. I don't know how far back, but
Um,
yeah, it was an issue there, and Free State Kansas was a precursor to
mm,
the Civil War. Cool. And Florida was harboring escaped slaves. Cool. There's
um,
a lot that people aren't taught in the public school system. It's a shame.
If I was taught any of that growing up, I don't remember it. Let's put it that way. I remember
mm.
hearing about jayhawkers and bushwhackers, but I couldn't have told you anything about it.
Well, hey, I mean, being told anything about it at all is more than I got, right? Um,
Maybe so.
that's that's a really interesting history, you know? The admission being contingent upon on such a hot button issue and you know, the whole what decades long story of border crossings from other states trying to, and back then the state borders were really a lot more intense. You know, the federal government was really, really small, really weak. State governments were really seen as more like sovereign nations, with like a collective federal government over top, but not the authority over the states like we see these days. So, um, yeah, for them to be hopping the border and stuffing ballot boxes in a neighboring state, it's like like terrible back then. Mm.
I got an article I'm gonna read here. Send it to you guys first. It's already got it open, but says a video catches former mega church pastor sneaking into woman's home and stalking case. Check out the article because that guy in her couch getting caught on camera. He looks like he knows he's caught. But anyhow, uh, a former pastor of Virginia megachurch has been convicted of burglary and stalking after video capture him sneaking into a woman home, oh no, into a home of a previous member of his congregation. A Virginia jury found Sergio Guardia, 49, guilty of the charges on March 12th, according to court records obtained by USA Today. His sentencing is scheduled for August 20th. The woman he was convicted of stalking, Marie Columna, told WSET TV that Guardia entered the home when she was out of town. I'm sorry. When she was out of town on November 10th and 11 back in 2023. At the time, the phone notification woke up Columna, telling her a man was inside her home, she said. I was just yelling, there's a guy. No, end quote, I was just yelling, there's a guy in my house, she said. Following Guardia's conviction, Columna told the outlet, I don't feel like I've been gotten my power back. power that he took. Guardia's attorney did not immediately respond to the USA Today's request for comment on Friday. Uh, yeah, you're not
Once
even
it,
safe from your pastor.
yeah, this falls into some guys are really creepy and not cool.
Oh, man. Yeah, and it's caught on camera is the worst part. Why? There's a lot of whys today.
Yeah,
Um, I got another why. Let's see. Pregnant woman, epic, and wait. Pregnant woman and shameless. End quote. Pregnant and shameless. Woman in and out order sparks loud opinions after a viral post. Wow. Um, she had a bun in the oven and four more in her stomach. A pregnant woman had viewers salivating over a sharing photo of a massive In-N-Out burger banquet she ordered to satisfy her prenatal cravings, according to a Reddit post titled, end quote, pregnant and shameless. The hangry
Can we
customer ordered.
hold on? Can we go back? I'm sorry. I had to step away real quick. I
Oh,
was
I'm sorry about that.
listening.
Of course we can go back.
I was listening. I heard a lot of it, but the former pastor Virginia megachurch convicted burglary and stalking, caught
Okay.
sneaking into the home of a previous member of his congregation. So she left his church,
And then he stalked her
and he
and
so
got
he
caught on
must have
cameras around her house.
taken a liking while she was in his congregation. Virginia jury found 49-year-old
there's another
guilty of,
paragraph too.
yeah, woman
Yeah, I
convicted.
was gonna keep going. Oh, yeah,
Told
didn't see that part.
Garcia that her home when she was out of town on November 10 and 11 back in 2023. At the time, phone notification woke her up telling a man was inside her home. So, did he know that she was going to be out of town, or did he go there hoping that she would be? I don't know.
Read that last
Uh,
paragraph, it might say.
um, I was just yelling. There was a guy in my house, she said. Following Guardia's conviction, Columna told the outlet, I do feel like I've gotten my power back, power that he took. Guardia's attorney did not immediately respond to USA Today's request for comment on Friday. Former congregant said trouble started after divorce. Okay, that's a problem. Said her pastor at the Spanish language campus of Thomas Road Baptist Church in Lynchburg, Virginia, until he, wait, her pastor, oh, she left in 2016. Okay. She said she left the church because Guardia repeatedly made her feel uncomfortable. Okay, he should not have been a pastor. Sleazeball. Sleazeball using his
The
power.
video where he knows he got caught on camera,
Yeah.
him looking at the camera, that was hilarious.
It all started when my divorce was finalized. She told WSET TV he was coming to my house to help me. And then at some point, it became clear he wanted more. She said, in his pattern of stalking went on for around 6 years before she caught him on camera. She said the way the church responded to the allegations was frustrating. Thomas Church did not immediately respond to USA Today's request for comment. Well, of course, they wouldn't immediately respond. When does anybody ever immediately respond? Their response towards me was negative. They were supportive of him, columnist said, adding she hopes her story helps others. As powerful as that position of authority as a pastor may seem, and as powerful as that church may seem, victims have power too, she said. Yes.
That's just
Not all
creepy.
not all who call themselves Christian truly follow the Lord. There are wolves in sheep's clothing. Jesus himself warned of that. Paul in his letters warned of that. Wolves in sheep's clothing coming to devour the lost. Um, yeah, just because somebody is a pastor does not mean they're a good person, does not mean that they're actually representing Christianity, like true, like Christianity in the sense of following Christ, right? As the word meant when it was coined back in Ephesus as a slur. It was actually a derogatory slur against early Christians who followed Jesus. It was meant to be insulting, um, but Christ followers. Um, yes, be careful. Be very careful. And yeah, do not trust that somebody who is in a position of authority necessarily is deserving of that authority. That's why the Bible always says, test everything against the word. So, um, yeah, just fuck that guy though.
Yeah.
Gotta even watch
That
out for your pastor now is the wild part. You
no,
feel
you
safe
just gotta
around
watch out
him.
for you just gotta watch out for everybody anymore.
Yeah, and he definitely had all her information. He definitely knew she was out of town. I don't know what he would steal, but
He was probably in there to dig for her panty drawer.
very much possible. Not that I know. But I got another article, Mark, unless you got
Just
some opinions on that.
dig a little bit, take a just a little sniff, little sniff.
Bring a
So
souvenir home, probably.
it's clean underwear.
Oh
You
yeah,
never know. Maybe
walks
he got it out of the
fully
clothes
into
hamper.
the room,
I was
fully
gonna say
across the
that.
room, and then sees the camera and is like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna." It's like he's obviously, clearly realized he's been on camera for. I mean, I guess what else would you do, right? What would I do if I was invading a home with the intent to sniff somebody's panty drawer? And I
And he,
realize partway through that I've been on camera for like 30 seconds with my face clearly shown. Do you stay there and go and get the sniff anyway? Or do you,
yes, not that
yeah,
I want to sniff, but
I
you
mean,
already caught. You might as well finish.
you're caught. Yeah, you're already caught. You're toast. Ugh,
He tries to run from the
creeps.
camera and
Creeps,
went
these
back
things.
through the door.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, that was a no shit moment for sure for him.
he runs out of the room like he wasn't seen. Uh, yeah, everybody
You
out
can
there,
totally see it. He's
yeah,
like, "Oh shit, camera, let's get out of here."
the Lord
Well,
seen you.
yeah. Well, I
The
wonder
Lord
how he
seen you
like
first.
it looks like does the camera turn to track him? It looked like
It does.
I mean, I know that it's got the digital like person there identified, but does it actually pan to watch him? Is that what tipped him off? Like, did he hear the motor of a camera rotating to watch him and then turn, and then he's leaving, turn?
Those things are really quiet. I don't know if he noticed the moving because
Well, if it was moving, then, I mean, even if it wasn't the sound, he could have seen the movement through the corner of his eye. It looks like, yeah, he turns, he sees something through the corner of his eye, and then it moves to get him more like centrally in focus. And that looks like maybe that motion is when he realizes that, oh, this is on and it's been watching me this whole time. And then he leaves, and by the time he turns, it has to pan up a little bit to see because all that was visible by then was just his hand pulling um the door closed behind him, so looked up a little bit. So I don't know. I think it was a full motion camera doodad with motion tracking turned on.
uh
Well, it's good to
yeah,
have cameras.
yeah, definitely shouldn't like that happening. Uh but like I said, that should be the person you should be able to trust. If anybody, the pastor you should be able to trust. And it's crazy that you can't. Uh I got some Florida news. It isn't good news or funny news this week. Um, says Florida man arrested after niece of 12-year-old gives birth to his child. A 12-year-old girl
Oh,
did not know she was pregnant when she gave birth at a Florida park after being impregnated by her uncle, police said. Authorities responded to Helen Haworth Park in Pinellas Park after getting a report of a baby being born at 10:30 p.m. July 16th. An investigation found the girl was sexually battered and molested by her 61-year-old uncle, Delphin Back. Police told USA Today. The girl reported the assaults by her uncle happened multiple times during the past year at her home in Pinellas Park, which was about 20 miles from Tampa. Back, uh, Back was arrested July 17th at his St. Petersburg home. Oh my. As a result of the capital sexual battery, the 12-year-old juvenile became pregnant and gave birth to a child. Pinellas Park police said, in quote, both the 12-year-old and the newborn baby are healthy and receiving care at a local hospital. Back was charged with sexual battery on a child under 12. He's been held in Pinellas County Jail with no bond. That's good. He doesn't need bond. Uh,
that's
that
just
is
disgusting.
your family. Not that it's worse if it is your family and isn't your family, but
I'm gonna say she's 12. How did a 12-year-old and nobody around her realize that she was pregnant?
this 61-year-old creep just and his niece. Oh man. And how did she not know she was pregnant was another question. Um,
Or even
I
the
mean,
people around her.
she's so young. I mean, if you haven't had the birds and the bees talk or whatever, tell them that's what happens, and you just go and do it without telling them the significance, the importance, and the life-altering implications of the actions. Um, you know, yeah, I can see how
I can see how
without
she wouldn't know,
without
but the
being
people
provided
around
uh,
that
her,
information that she wouldn't know and she wouldn't know to tell. like
I was
one
gonna
could
say
tell at least, but
You
the
would
mm,
think
people
that, like,
around, how do they not
right,
catch
how did
or see? I mean, I don't know
your
what,
body changes a lot when you're pregnant, typically.
but she's also, I mean, she's 12 years old, so she's going through
probably not
adolescence.
understand it. I
She's,
don't know.
I don't know. That may be part of, they may have just been thinking that's how her body is responding to puberty and not recognizing that the, development is,
There was no doubting when I was pregnant, but I mean, I wasn't 12, obviously, but it's kind of,
Maybe. Maybe she was more of a bigger girl because I've heard
is,
about bigger girls getting pregnant and people not being able to
I
tell
mean,
because they're already
it's
big.
come up in the
Oh yeah, then again, she's
podcast
12.
before. Haven't we talked about this before? That there have been cases where it's a woman doesn't show or people around her don't notice.
Yeah,
And that, sometimes the delivery isn't as severe for some women as it is for others, right?
yeah,
So
having them at the
yeah, I
park
just,
is rough.
I can't imagine it being a smooth process for a 12-year-old. And she
it's
shouldn't
not a
have to,
smooth
she doesn't
process
deserve.
anyway.
Right, yeah. But she doesn't deserve to have to deal with that. It is
Right.
It's
and
horrifying.
without, yeah. How would she know what to tell people? How can she?
That's
It's
disgusting. Your family, people that should be protecting you, your family.
she's still older than Muhammad's child bride. She was 9.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, she was 6 when they got married, correct? And
Mhm.
9 when they, yeah.
Consummated.
That's just so fucked up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. And
Hmm.
Islamic scholars, some of them had tried to say, oh, well, puberty occurred differently back then, right? At different age. It happens now than it did back then, and that's true. But the reason that the age of puberty shifts, in modern population relative to ancient medieval population is because of the quality and availability of nutrition. Um, and so the shift actually is downward. Modern girls are going into puberty younger than they would have back in Muhammad's time. So if they try to argue that puberty occurred at a different age, that only goes to make the case that um, 9 years old was even more prepubescent than it is today. Just biologically speaking, this is
I get what you're saying.
not disputed, not controversial state.
Um, yeah, it's messed up that I just keep saying that you got to watch out for your family, the people who should be protecting you. And 61-year-old creep.
Mhm.
Uh,
61. Me, her grandfather
at that age, you might be a great grandfather.
could be. Yeah. Um, yeah. And in many cultures, yeah, would be probably.
Um,
But you got to keep the wealth in the family, so that's how you do it.
Yeah, I've heard of that in from Alabama in a podcast. There's a lot of they try to keep the last name, so they date their family. Uh, yeah.
I'm
Um,
not particularly informed about Alabama and Alabama's culture. I'll
um,
take your word for
in that
that.
podcast, they were saying the place with the biggest population of incest is in Alabama, and they went there and they talked to a few people, and a few people in the city were like, "Yeah, we heard about it. You gotta have a certain last name or something like that. I forgot what the name was, but yeah, to each his own."
That's just wild that that's happening in today's times.
Hey, is that legal?
It depends on where you are.
Huh.
And how closely related you
I
are
mean,
typically.
sibling is is basically like universally frowned upon. I don't know about straight up illegal, but universally frowned upon. Um, but
Okay.
Cousins is
cousins,
another thing.
cousins, and are a whole different ball game. They're fair game in all. I mean, yeah, across the Muslim world. Um, and a lot of, there are parts of Europe, Germany, Netherlands, and there are parts of the United States, um, but not in the same way, into the same degree, and on the same continuing consistent level as um, a lot of African nations. Somalia, in particular, I think Somalia has the highest rate of first cousin marriage of any nation in.
Talk about Somalia. That's a whole nother topic. Uh, I got something else here. If you not if you're done what you're doing.
Oh, hey,
Uh,
okay, no, I take that back. Pakistan. Pakistan has the highest recorded rate of first cousin marriage in the world, with approximately 49.6% of ever married women had been wedded to their first cousins, when including second cousins and other close biological relatives, which a word for that is consanguinity. Con- consanguinity. Yes, consanguinity. Same blood. The total rate of marriage within families jumps to over 60 to 65% nationwide in Pakistan. So, yeah, if you ever happen to just on a whim go and fly to see the sights of Pakistan and manage to get a visa, um, you go up to any random person on the street, and odds are basically equal to a coin flip if you ask them that they are married to their first cousin or not.
That's crazy.
It's about 50-50. But this is another, and it's going to sound bad, but research has shown that consistent inbreeding within a family reduces in higher rates of genetic diseases, genetic um, abnormalities, deficiencies, and consistently lowers IQ. Um,
Did you say it lowers the risk of genetic diseases?
No, it consistently. Uh,
Raises them?
if I said lowers, I did not mean.
It
Yeah,
could have been me. I don't know.
yeah, consistently increases the rates of many different genetic diseases. A lot of very rare genetic diseases are found more often in Pakistan than in a lot of other places in the world, simply because you have the prime ground for it, you know? If one recessive gene exists um, somewhere, then the odds of it getting selectively inbred for and spread are far higher than anywhere else in the world simply because of, you know, the way that the culture runs that. So the um, yeah, uh, hold on.
Um, whenever you are done, let me know. Um, but yeah, incest in America. Like I said, I got this information from YouTube, so you never know. That information needs to be looked up.
Yeah, research shows children born to first cousin marriages faced a modest average drop in intelligence scores, up to 10 points. 10 points is almost a complete standard deviation. And then you continue that when
Mm.
those first cousin marriages with that lowered test, like IQ, marry
The
their
next
first
generation's
cousins who also had an IQ drop there, and that goes.
down
Um,
the line.
there's roughly doubled risk of severe intellectual disability and autosomal recessive genetic disorders compared to children of unrelated parents. So it's an uncomfortable truth to have to deal with. You know, if you want to try to try to claim that all cultures are equal, and then you know these are consistently practicing known detrimental and genetically harmful cultural practices. This is um, not something they're going to change overnight either.
I don't think they have plans of changing it.
No, of course not. They have plans of exporting it. That's why the Pakistanis are shipping their young males over to Britain and having them. I mean, they don't have any intent to integrate into British society over there either. They're not migrating to Britain to become British, right? They're migrating to Britain to take their culture, establish enclaves, enforce it on the UK, all the while accepting, demanding British taxpayer, you know, taxpayer funded relief programs, shelter, housing provided because they're migrants, because they are what, fleeing something or some vague diffuse something. Um, they were saved several countries before they got to the United Kingdom. They have no reason to get all the way up there to Birmingham. Um, yeah, but that's all because of the open borders in Europe. Once you say open borders, all come in here. Look at all the cool stuff we've got here. And, look at all the pretty girls that aren't wearing hijabs. Look at what that, how about that? I mean, yeah, they haven't seen that before. Well, I mean, they have cell phones and the internet, but walking around on the streets, they don't see that back in Pakistan. Um, yeah, why is it that these waves of migrants, whenever whenever there's videos of them doing anything, why are they mostly military-aged men? It seems weird. It doesn't register as refugees, as migrants. It looks more like a coordinated effort. And the Spanish issue, circling back to the Spanish, 60,000 invade in one day and then immediately go back like 24 hours later. Who didn't go back? How do they know all of them are going back or not? And what was the goal there? This is this is concerning.
There's
What's
a
going
lot of
to
whys today.
what's
So
going to
many whys.
happen? It's concerning. Yeah, what are they? Mm,
Why did it happen in the first place?
yeah. Well, why? Because they're testing things, testing borders, testing enforcement, testing response, leaving behind agents of chaos. Once they're
Uh,
in sovereign Spanish territory, you got them. You got them in, right? A
Yeah,
a a secret operative, right? This doesn't I don't know. I don't think it's implausible. It's certainly like conspiracy theory, but I don't think it's implausible that the IRGC, or what's it, the Quds Force is um, their equivalent of like the CIA. It seems plausible that they could foment a whole group of, young men to get all up in arms and use that as a distraction to leave behind and plant a few highly trained specialists that they have to go and, once they're in Spanish territory, um, perhaps they have,
facilitate something bigger.
yeah, perhaps they have very well crafted passports for, other countries somewhere else in the EU, and this just provided a means for them to get into a um, Spanish territory. And with this, German German-looking passport that the Quds created as part of their cover, now that they've gotten into you know, Spain proper, right? All those people gone back, they don't look like one of those people anymore. They look like they belong here. They just happened to be here while this whole thing erupted. And how can anybody prove otherwise?
Yeah.
I don't like it. None of it passes the sniff test. It can't be migrants. It can't not really migrants unless you're like intentionally dishonestly using the word migrant, which I see as perfectly plausible, right? Yeah. Um, Trying to label something as something else innocuous um, has a long-standing tradition uh, in
Trojan horse.
espionage, counter-espionage, Trojan horses, yeah, propaganda, yeah, control control people's minds without them even knowing. Mm,
Uh, yeah.
what else was?
I got an article here.
Is
It
it about
says,
cousin marriage? Please say
no,
no. Good.
no, it's not. Uh, I find the incest articles next week. Anyhow,
Oh,
I got an article that says,
I would rather go back to dick articles than incest.
okay, okay, good to know. Good to know.
I mean, you're the dick guy, so
I'll figure it out. I'll surprise
yeah,
you. I'll
yeah,
get
you
you a
will.
mix.
Yeah,
Anyhow, got an
I
article
know
here
I
that
can count
says
on you.
millennials say they won't care for aging boomer parents, vowing to put them in quote old folks homes. Ooh, not
Fuck
okay,
that.
boomer.
Oh,
Millennials claim that they refuse to take care of their aging baby boomer parents, who they blame for saddling them with soaring housing costs, student debt, and other financial woes. The grievances first surfaced in a viral Reddit thread from 2023, which was responding to a Vox article warning that cash strapped 30 somethings were not prepared for financial realities of elder care. However, the digital soapbox resurfaced this week as the post war generation prepares to reach 80. With 4 million boomers expected to attain that milestone this year, per the Wall Street, that's a lot of people. Anyhow, and this thread posted in the boomer bashing subreddit, Boomers Being Fools, the poster had deemed elder care, end quote, not an issue, as, end quote, we refuse to take care of you. Damn. Adding, end quote, old folks home, it will be. I think they should just put themselves up by their bootstraps, said another, invoking the age old boomer adage used to dismiss complaints by younger generations. Wow. Uh, you guys gonna put your folks in old folks' homes? I have no plans of it. My mom's not a boomer, but that's messed up. I'll keep reading. End
no,
quote.
they've done so much to take care of me, especially through the epilepsy. It is I
Correct.
owe them my life in so many different ways. If I ever, yeah, if it ever comes to that, like putting them in a home will only be an absolute last resort, and it would mark a failure on my part to live up to the obligation that I have to my parents. I mean, I was gonna say to repay them for, but it's not a debt thing, like a repayment. Like they are my parents. They have been here for me through everything. I am here because of them, and I am who I am. I'm the way I am because of them. Um, they, yeah, um,
The article.
yeah.
It says most didn't help their kids. End quote. Most didn't help their kids. Why would they help them Ferned a third. Ferned a third. A fourth wrote, end quote, only boomers would openly rob multiple generations of sustainable and secure future and still expect people to burden themselves further with their end of life care. Wow. I've never seen anything like this. Anyhow,
Do they,
another
do they,
another
I'm sorry. Okay.
another says, "Hey boomers, remember that social safety net you dismantled and those homes and cars you got before you pulled up the ladder behind you?" griped one delusional commenter. "Yes, you need to sell that stuff to take care of yourself because F you, that's why." I didn't know this was
That's
going
bold.
on. People were hating on boomers. Anyhow, many were echoing long running observations by economists that, contrary to their end quote hard work mantra, boomers benefited by getting in housing and equity markets in record numbers and at just the right time before their 4 decade appreciation cycle, Fortune reported. They were also the largest voting bloc for nearly 40 years, from the 1970s to the 2010s, meaning their votes influence the policies that shape housing markets, taxes on capital gains, the university systems, and more. Despite the tough talk online, these millennial keyboards apparently don't put a ER without withhold their money, put their money where their mouth is. A population reference bureau fact sheet noted that the percentage of family caregivers assisting older soared from 18.2 million in 2011 to 24.1 million in 2022, right around when millennial parents came of old age. Adult children are also compromise the largest percentage, 40% of the family caregivers in America, according to Fortune. While millennials can't just rely on the cushy inheritance received during the fabled, end quote, greatest wealth transfer in history, because it's apparently grossly overstated. A reality.com study found that the post war generations, roughly 93 trillion dollars in assets, only around 36 trillion will trickle down to Gen X and millennial heirs over the next 2 decades. Once you account for retirement spending, debt, taxes, and fees, as such, they often use their last asset, their house, to bankroll their retirement instead of passing it to their next of kin. To make matters worse, the U.S. housing supply gap widened to 4.03 million units as new construction faltered last year, driving the housing shortage that has essentially eliminated Zoomers and millennials from the market. Over the past decade, many households, particularly young ones, have delayed forming due to limited supply and worsening affordability, said Realtor.com's senior economic research analyst Hannah Jones. Rather than establishing independent households, many young adults have remained with parents, lived with extended family, or shared housing with roommates. Oh, that one's over. I wouldn't put my mother in a home. I talked to my daughter and she told me she promises to not put me in a home. So I got that. I'm hoping at the end of everything, I got her. Um, yeah, worst case scenario. Um, yeah, you
Okay.
guys said,
There we go. Okay. I need to remember when I mute my microphone at the microphone versus at Zoom. I was saying nice things about you, Pookie, and you heard none of it.
Right. That's nice. Wait, that's not nice then. Um, Thanks though. It's
Yeah,
good to know.
yeah, yeah. Take my word for it. You got compliments.
Mm.
No, but seriously, I was saying, that is awesome. I mean, good on you, Pookie, for taking care of your mother, and for raising a daughter who is going to
I got
continue
several.
that
I don't want to leave
that
one out,
family.
but yeah,
Well,
gotcha.
raising your children to continue that.
Raise is a
Uh,
strong word.
well, what do you want me to say? I'm sorry for
That I have.
fathering children
There you go. Good word.
that will continue that family care. I wonder if it is something cultural, and I don't, I kind of, I'm a little bit hesitant to go there, but I'm gonna anyway. Um, I wonder if, like, if it's all the white, this, like, the shitty white kids who were like, I'm not gonna, I don't want to support mom and dad. I'm out for me. I feel like I've always,
We're gonna
and
be
maybe this is
billionaires.
this is just maybe I'm a little racist. I don't know. If I am, you'll need to tell me. But I've always had an impression that there is more of a sense of, like, culture and a greater importance on family, like supporting, in a lot of black communities, and like not putting grandma
That
in
is
the
true.
home. You don't, you don't. Um,
True.
and yeah,
Yeah, I know not a lot of old people. Family dies in the home with family.
that's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
well, not, oh,
All
that's
those
awesome. They're
boomers and
dying. Uh,
beyond, they all
right.
wanted to die at home and they all have the do not resuscitate letters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plenty of my
Yeah.
family, they said they want to die at home. They don't want to be in a hospital or a home. Yeah.
Yeah. My grandmother passed away in her home, and my mother was there. I wasn't able to be there, but my mother was there. My grandfather was there, and that was something that, um you know it was incredible. It was incredibly important, not just to her for her own emotional sense, but it was important for my mother and my grandfather to be there, in that context with her where she wanted to be. Um, I think it made it easier to cope with for them as well, and not just grandma's wishes, but I think um, seeing her at her final moments was something important for them too. So, um, yeah, I don't like that article. I don't like that trend. I think that is concerning. I think it's concerning that there is such a disconnect between
Happening.
the generation that was being interviewed, whatever you're going to call them, right? I don't know. Were they Zoomers? Were they millennials?
They were
I hope they
millennials. The
millennials.
millennials are putting the boomers inside of homes.
Oh,
Luckily, I'm not gonna say luckily, my
because
mom isn't part of that generation because eventually she'll be old, but she's not a boomer.
She's like
She's
an
born.
elder Gen Xer, or we'll leave elder. She's
She's
a Gen
a
Xer,
Gen Y.
Gen Y.
Oh no, she's Gen X. There we go.
X, yeah, because Gen Y was what they called
Millennials at
millennials
first.
before they came, yeah, because there was Generation X, right? And that had its thing. Once that got ingrained, that was like too cool to give up, right? So then, yeah, what's next? Well, we have an alphabet and there's Y. It's like, okay, well, Generation Y. I don't remember exactly when that went away, but millennial I do like more. But yeah, I'm an 80s, 86 model model year.
The
So
86 model sounds like a car.
yeah, yeah, basically. And it
An
shows.
89
I'm
model.
starting to get run down. Parts are wearing out.
Oh,
I
just
need
wait.
I need a little jump start from the VNS every once in a while, a little bit of electricity. Um, yeah, my fuel requires special additives. Um, yeah, pretty much. Um, I don't know. I like the so yeah, 86 model year, which my understanding is they start the millennial cohort at like 82, maybe. So if it's a 20-year block and 82 is the start and I'm 86, I'm like closer to the beginning than I am to like the average millennial.
When is the cutoff between Gen X and Millennial? Do you know?
82, supposedly. I think that's
What year?
official.
I, I believe we stop at 97, but I don't know where it starts.
It stops after because it was the
Because I
name
was,
the name came about because it was meant to encompass the group of children who would grow up like never r- before, like not remembering a time before there was an internet. Not necessarily that it was ubiquitous, but like growing up with computers and the internet already being a thing, and then coming of age at the turn of the millennium. So some of them
that
starting to
was
turn,
me.
yeah, some of them starting to become legal adults at the year 2000. So you work backwards from there, and I think that's where the beginning of the window is. And then you turn that into a 20-year cohort, and then that puts you to 2002. And that group kind of
There's
happened
a
to work out to be like the social media group, right? We're the ones who woke up and,
there's a chart here.
brainstormed. Yeah. Oh,
There's a chart here,
oh, I
and
love charts.
it's on Reddit, but it
Well,
says the generation names and years. Um, generation Silent generation
oh, yeah,
1928
Korean War.
was 1928 to 1945. The baby boomers are born between 1946 to 1964. The
Silent
Generation X,
Generation. Yeah, Silent Generation was when?
1928 to 1945.
Okay, so they'd be the ones who fought in World War II.
Yes.
Right, 28 to 45, up to 45.
But anything before that is the greatest generation
Well, yeah, they
because
fought World
they
War
experienced the
One.
Great Depression.
Great Depression, they fought World War One. The war to end all wars, right? It
Anyhow,
was
for sure.
too horrible. All nations would remember it was too horrible. The industrialized killing of fellow humans. Nobody would ever start another war again.
Yeah,
all
that
right.
worked out.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry,
so
go on.
Generation X starts 1965 to 1980.
Okay.
That's me.
Millennials is 1981 to 1996. Generation Z is 97 to 2012. Generation Alpha is 2013 to now and still going.
I'm Gen X.
I'm a millennial, of course. Nice generation. The greatest generation. That sounds good, just being part of that. But I don't want to experience the Great Depression, which was part of the
1980 to
reason they're called that.
1996. 1996. How about that? I thought it was a little bit later.
Yeah,
Oh, U.S. Census
1996.
Bureau and the government sometimes uses a broader or slightly shifted range, like 1982 to 2000, for specific statistical tracking. That's what I had been looking at. I guess the Pew Research Center is probably what the maker of that um, chart that you were looking at. Um, Brush for I don't know. Can you drop a link to that Reddit post in the
Damn, I
so I
deleted that
see I see here
tab.
born in World War II generation in 1922 to 1927 would be the small gap of that. That was the years of birth that were drafted into World War One or World War Two, right? 22
Um,
to 27. So they wanted 18 to 30 something year olds or whatever, 18 to, but yeah. So post war was 1928 to 1945. Boomers number one. I don't know why they have a number one. Oh, boomers one, and then they have an asterisk, and that footnote says we increasingly break up boomers into two cohorts because the span is so large, and the oldest of the generation have different sensibilities than the younger. In the US, Generation Jones, or Boomers 2, they call them, are just young enough to have missed being drafted into war. Okay, that is a big difference. Yeah, baby boomers who were old enough and subjected to the draft for the Vietnam War had a very different, like, childhood and early adulthood than those who never had to worry about getting sent over to Southeast Asia and, you know, plodding through jungles fighting against people that you have absolutely no qualm with and no reason to accept that some politicians somewhere, right? It's not your fight, you know, you, the person on the ground. So why? Yeah, I get that. And I
um,
think, yeah, I think Jeff agrees strongly with that, the anti-war and the the um the draft being shitty. Um, but I believe my dad was young enough that he was not subjected to the draft. I think he may have been right on the border. So I don't think, yeah, that's an interesting distinction. I've never heard that before, but that makes sense. So 1946 to 1954 boomers had a very different outlook than 1955 to 64 boomers, even if they're typically lumped together in just Census Bureau cohorts. So then Gen X was 65 to 80, Millennials 81 to 96, and Gen Z 97 to 2012. So then I guess 2012 to present, so that's only 14 years, right? 2012 to present is
So
Gen
far.
Alpha. That
Um,
14 years isn't long enough to go on to the next, right? We got another couple years of Gen Alpha before we start thinking about, oh, Gen Betas. Right?
um,
Because Gen
I got,
Alphas will need to be older to start making babies before there is a Gen Beta, right? The
mm,
babies have to come from the Gen before.
okay, that makes sense.
Hopefully, 14-year-old Gen Alphas aren't,
Having
yes,
babies.
let's think about something else. Um,
I got an update about the
yeah.
remember the therapist at the she was at the jail and she was what is it called grooming the
Oh,
little
the
boy.
kid, yeah, grooming the
Uh
kid.
yeah, she groomed him until he got out and got with him and all that. There's an update on that because now they don't know where he is. So
Oh,
Uh,
is he on the
um
lam?
I'll read the article. It says teen boy vanishes after alleged rape by California therapist as mom fears he's run off. The mother of a California teen allegedly raped by his juvenile hall therapist said her son has run away from home and she fears he may have visited the clinician in violation of court orders. Former jail counselor Sophia Drotz, 26-year-old San Francisco, is on free on bail. She was hit Monday with a slew of felony charges, including unlawful sex intercourse related to her relationship with the teen. Drotz was arrested 2 weeks ago, allegedly grooming and raping a teenager whom she counseled at Contra Costa County Jail Juvenile Hall. Wow. Mm. After his release, she is accused of secretly posing as the teenager's girlfriend and using a burner phone to stay in contact with him. The unidentified boy's distraught distraught mom, the California Post, that her 17-year-old son may have decided to go back to his former therapist. The teen who believes the relationship between him and Drotz was consensual went missing when the therapist was nabbed by cops, his mom said. He just left, said the concerned mom, who asked to remain anonymous to protect her son's identity. I don't know where he is, she added. Wow. She added that her son had been in constant contact with Drotz since April, his release, and that he was on a video call with her at the exact moment she was arrested by Concord police. The mom alleged that Drotz painstakingly groomed the teen for more than 2 years while she provided therapy, duping the family into thinking she was a concerned caregiver. Instead, Drotz treating the teen. His mom claimed the therapist conned the boy into falling in love with her. She was very professional, very caring, the mother explained. Like she always had my son's best interests in heart. She had no idea Drotz was allegedly victimizing her son until the arrest when she confirmed her son. He said the allegations were false. What if it was consensual? The teen asked the son mother. The boy ran off and hasn't been seen by the family since, except on one occasion when he stopped home to take a shower and cut his ankle monitor off, his mom said. He also missed a probationary court date and a warrant has been issued for his arrest, she added. Drotz did not return calls for comment. She pleaded not guilty at her arraignment and charges including sexual penetration with objection, sending harmful matter to a minor, oral copulation of a person under 18 years old, and possessing child pornography. She has retained a private attorney who declined to comment on the case. Investigators say that Drotz began grooming the child in 2024 when he was 14 and 15 years old. At the time, the boy, identified as John Doe in court papers, was serving 2 years at Contra Costa County Jail, where Drotz was assigned as his therapist during the 2 years which the Doe was incarcerated. The juvenile hall At the juvenile hall, Drotz abused her position as his therapist. Uh, to establish an inappropriate emotional connection with Doe, grooming him while the object the objective of sexual abuse, court papers state. After the boy was released on probation, Drotz continued to serve as his therapist through Contra Costa County Health and allegedly had, in quote, unlawful sexual contact with him, the court papers say. I was going to say it's coming to an end, but it's almost over. The documents state that the team of county agents and supervisors failed to identify the red flags or supervise Drotz, and so the sexual abuse continued. Attorney John Burris, who was representing the boy's family in a civil suit against Contra Costa County, said the supervisors failed to protect the boy from Drotz. End quote. Uh, we're We're very hopeful that the significant conviction occurs to send a clear message to the young man that this is not a love affair, no matter what your feelings are, Burris said. The young man is emotionally torn up over this. According to the posts on social media and content published on a college publication website, Drodson, a graduate from University of Wisconsin at Madison, the college heaped praise on Drotz in 2022. Instagram post that she identified her as psychology major with certificates. Mm, I'm sorry, the lost where I was. Yeah, psychology major with certificates in criminal justice, gender, and women's studies, and Chicano Latino studies. After graduating, she's off to Golden State to pursue PhD in clinical psychology at Palo Alto University. The post read, "Way to go, Sophia." Drotz identified herself as a Spanish speaker and Chicago native on the author page for the publication, which she contributed a number of articles to. Drotz is due back in court in August. That is all. So, yeah, you think the kid ran away to find her? I think he did.
Probably.
That's part of that grooming pot process she put him through. She knew this would
Yeah.
happen like this. Um,
Well, and the fact that she was using burner phones and everything to keep in contact with him meant, she was continuing to groom him.
yeah, he's already going to go to jail for taking the ankle monitor off for sure. So,
Well, yeah,
uh,
that was only a symptom of the problem, like the actual
Yeah.
problem.
mm,
Yeah, she, as the clinical psychologist, would be perfectly equipped to manipulate and brainwash a young, vulnerable um, boy into anything, basically. Um, I mean, anything. I don't know about anything, but she would be able to get him to the point where he would believe it's his idea, right? He would think that I am I want this. I am doing this because I want it, and everybody else is just keeping me. They just don't understand the truth of our relationship. They're just keeping me away from, blah blah blah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, even though he's legally an adult now, that process was
I thought he's a
done.
minor now. He's 17, right? Or is he 18?
Oh, I thought he just turned 18. I don't
It
Um,
know.
doesn't matter because he's been going through it since he was 14. So,
Yeah, either way, if he's 17, he's going to be 18, right?
yeah, he's 17.
yeah,
Hopefully he will be 18, yes. But they throw the book at her. There is not enough attention on male victims of sexual abuse. Um, and it,
100%.
it needs to be.
More attention.
Yeah. Attention, awareness. We need. Oh, hold on. Med time. Med time. Lyrica o'clock. Woo. Mm, yummy.
Uh, I got some water, but my meds time is long gone.
Wow. Hold on. While I'm on that, let me just check something. I've got my
Everybody
dispenser
out
in
there
front of
watching,
me. Hold
thumbs
on.
up.
Like, share,
Uh,
and subscribe.
Yes.
there you go. Mm,
And shout out to Nature's Made.
mm, mm. Can't forget
And
that part.
to Mountain Dew. Send
Shout
me
out to
free
Mountain Dew.
soda, Mountain Dew. I will put it on YouTube. I
I
love
hope
Mountain
so.
Dew. I love Mountain Dew. Honestly, it was my favorite. Um, always has been. It's weird. I don't know.
Um,
All of my friends liked Coke. I liked Mountain Dew.
I like
Um,
Dr. Pepper.
I liked Surge too back in the 90s. I miss Surge. But that's a Coca-Cola product, and Mountain Dew is Pepsi, so I can't. I'm not. If I'm trying to get Mountain Dew, shout out Mountain
Code Red,
Dew.
even.
well, shout out to Mountain
Code
Dew.
Red. Code Red, the best of the Mountain Dews, in my humble opinion. Although you cannot go wrong with any Mountain Dew flavor.
I
Um,
have to disagree with that. I've tried a few
mm,
of the
Mm,
strange flavors they have, and they're just
uh,
not necessarily great.
some of them are iffy. Some of them come and go for a reason. You're
the blue
saying,
one wasn't that good.
Eddie girl.
I had one the
The
other day that was
the
like a cream soda Mountain Dew or something, and it was
well,
just weird.
cream soda sucks anyway, so that was just
No, it doesn't.
doomed to fail.
Cream
Yes, it
soda's
does.
delicious.
No,
No,
it's
it's
not.
delicious.
No, you're wrong. I'm
I haven't had
sorry.
cream soda in a while.
Um,
Uh,
but
You take
the
some cream soda and when I was drinking some vanilla vodka and throw a little grenadine in it, it's delicious. I haven't
mm,
done that in many, many years though.
did I
But
send you the picture of the cats with the like the
uh,
oh, I gotta see.
when we're done
I gotta see if I can
with
find
this
it.
therapist thing. Were you done with that article? I
Oh
finished it,
no.
but were you
What
done talking about
article?
it?
I don't remember what article, so we can be done with it if you don't refresh my memory. But what
There's the
article were you
therapist that
talking
took the
about?
little boy. Well, no, she didn't take
Oh,
him. He
oh
took off.
gosh. Yeah, that's Is he still missing right now? Is he actively
Yes,
gone?
this article came out last night. He is still gone. He may have been caught, but as of last night, he was gone.
And she's out on
Yes,
bail.
and she's out on bail. Um,
Nothing sketchy about that at all, right?
No, absolutely
They're
not.
they're off having some fling of some sort that's just totally wrong.
Mm,
I wonder if she's having
yeah.
to wear an ankle monitor.
she should. She better.
She should
Mm,
be, but
it's interesting. I gotta catch her in the middle of the night. It's the easiest time when she's asleep. Uh, wow. Yeah, she groomed him, and like you said, that psychology, like that can be a strong piece of it, and control his brain maybe longer than they know. But
he's definitely been brainwashed by her.
Here, hold on. Check this out. And
see it almost.
Oh, that's
what?
cute.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I sent that a few weeks ago to you guys.
Oh,
I
you
seen that
sent
one.
it. That's how it came into my life. Okay, yes. I appreciate that. I appreciate you sharing that. I showed it to my parents. They love it. They love anything cats. So, yeah. If you want to make the day in this household everybody's day, we're all fans of
That's
catness.
good
They
to
look
know.
some, they
So,
look like some chonkers too.
yeah, well, they're probably pretty well fed. Yeah.
They appear to be very well fed.
Yeah. Um, we
Still
had a
adorable.
little, yes, well, naturally. I mean, cats.
Right. It's
We
a
had a
cat.
conversation. Mike, Mike is obviously a bottle of Coke. Mike, but with his one eye, but he's got a tuxedo, like a little white patch on his chest and stuff. So he's a bottle of Coke, but it's been dropped and it's a little
Mhm.
fizzy, but it was set back upright, and the fizz has all settled up, and it's just so a little bit of bubbles up at the top. But Mike is a Coke bottle. Kitty is a mystery. I don't know what we can call her. I'm open to suggestions, but you guys have seen her coloration pattern, and she's not easy to place like this. But Poofy now, Poofy is a root beer float. And if
Those
you
are good.
see her, if you look at her from behind, you see the very tip of her tail is white and stuff. So it's like the ice cream up at the tip of her tail, and it's all getting, dripping into the root beer and the creamy, and some of it is swirled up, and some of
Uh-oh.
it is still dark with the root beer. So yeah, Poofy is the root beer cat, root beer float. So, yeah.
You make
Sounds
me want to
good.
have a float.
Right. I'm sitting here
Mm,
going, that sounds good.
mm.
I actually have some vanilla ice cream and I've got Dr. Pepper, so it would have to be a Dr. Pepper float.
I
But
don't
I'm sure
Dr.
that
know.
would be
Pepper.
delicious too.
That sounds pretty good too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
I've
know.
had
I've never
Pepsi
been a
floats
fan of
before.
root beer to begin with. So that might be a better option. I might need to try a Dr. Pepper float and see. I've heard people doing Coke floats, and that just seems
I've had Pepsi
yeah.
floats. They were good.
Yeah.
Scream in your Coke, that's all.
But
I mean,
Pepsi's missing the decocainated cocaine leaves though, so it doesn't have quite the same little flavor profile. I wonder
that's
how
true.
much how much of a difference that would make.
I don't know.
I mean, I just we're gonna just have to try it, make the sacrifice, and drink some Pepsi and some Coke and some ice cream
You
for
can't
Gonna
go
be
you,
wrong
like
with all
better.
of that.
for you,
Oh
the
wow.
viewers. We might.
We
I'm not
might
gonna
just.
commit. I'm not committing to anything. But if I do, I will report back what it's like. But I mean, as I've stated before, I am a Mountain Dew person. Shout out to Mountain Dew, send me free stuff. Um,
That would
Free
be
is always
nice.
good.
I can't
I gotta
I
take
can't
off,
picture a
guys.
good. Oh, bye.
Have a good afternoon. I gotta go do
Mm,
parent things.
well,
This is a good time to end it.
like, share, subscribe.
Yeah. Thanks for watching and have a good rest of your day, everybody out there. I definitely will.